There's been quite the storm brewing behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace lately, and it all centers around something that might surprise you: jewelry. But this isn't just any ordinary family dispute over sparkly things. We're talking about a situation that has completely shaken the foundations of the royal family, with Kate Middleton at the center of what can only be described as a royal confrontation that nobody saw coming. The whole mess started when Kate discovered something that absolutely floored her. Queen Camilla had apparently been quietly moving around some of the most precious royal heirlooms, specifically pieces that were meant to go to Princess Charlotte. Now, you might think, well, these are just family jewels, right? But here's the thing. In the royal world, these pieces aren't just accessories. They're symbols of history, tradition, and most importantly, they carry the legacy of Princess Diana. What really gets to the heart of this story is how carefully these inheritance plans had been laid out over the years. Princess Charlotte, being the daughter of Prince William and Kate, naturally stands in line to receive certain pieces that connect her directly to her grandmother Diana. We're talking about items like the famous Spencer tiara that Diana wore on her wedding day, Queen Mary's lover's knot tiara with those distinctive hanging pearls, and an emerald necklace that Diana was photographed wearing during state visits back in the 90s. The significance of these pieces goes way beyond their monetary value. Each one tells a story, carries memories, and represents a direct link between Charlotte and the grandmother she'll never get to meet in person. For William, these items are probably some of his most treasured connections to his mother, and the idea that they would one day belong to his daughter must have felt like a beautiful way to keep Diana's spirit alive in the family. But somewhere along the way, things started to shift. After King Charles took the throne and Camilla settled into her role as queen, palace insiders began noticing changes in how certain royal jewels were being categorized and stored. What had once been clearly designated as Charlotte's future inheritance was suddenly being reclassified as items available for current use. This might sound like bureaucratic shuffling, but in the royal world, these distinctions matter enormously. The really shocking part is where some of these pieces ended up going. Instead of staying within Prince William's direct family line, several items were reportedly given to Camilla's own relatives, particularly her granddaughter Lola Parker Bowles. Now, Ola is family through Camilla's son Tom, but she doesn't hold any royal titles and isn't in the line of succession. The idea that jewelry with such deep royal and Diana connections would go to someone outside the direct bloodline really rubbed people the wrong way. For months, this was all happening quietly behind the scenes. Camilla was methodical about it, working through proper channels, getting paperwork updated, and making everything look official. If you didn't know what to look for, you probably wouldn't have noticed anything unusual. But Kate Middleton has always been someone who pays attention to details, especially when it comes to her children's futures. Kate had spent years preparing for Charlotte's role in the royal family, thinking carefully about how to help her daughter understand her heritage and her place in this incredible but complicated world. The jewelry wasn't just about having pretty things to wear. It was about Charlotte being able to touch history, to wear the same pieces her grandmother wore, and to feel that connection across generations. When Kate started putting the pieces together and realized what was happening, she didn't just get upset and let it slide. This is where we really see a different side of the usually calm and diplomatic Kate Middleton. She began doing her own investigation, working with royal archivists and even reaching out to some of Princess Diana's former staff members who were still around and remembered the original plans for these heirlooms. What she discovered was that this wasn't some innocent misunderstanding or administrative error. This was a deliberate, carefully planned effort to redirect Charlotte's inheritance to benefit Camilla's own family members. The documentation was all there, showing how records had been altered and how items that had been specifically set aside for Charlotte were suddenly available for other purposes. Next, the confrontation that followed was unlike anything the royal family had witnessed in recent memory. Kate had always been known for her diplomatic approach, her ability to smooth over tensions and maintain that perfect royal composure that the public had come to expect. But when it came to protecting her daughter's rightful inheritance and honoring Princess Diana's memory, she transformed into someone completely different. Kate spent weeks meticulously preparing her case. She gathered emails, official documents, and testimonies from palace staff who had witnessed the changes being made to the jewelry records. Every piece of evidence was carefully verified and cross-referenced. This wasn't going to be an emotional outburst that could be dismissed as a misunderstanding between family members. Kate was building an ironclad case that would be impossible for anyone to dispute or explain away. The moment of truth came during what was supposed to be a routine family gathering at Kensington Palace. King Charles was away on a diplomatic mission, which probably made the timing feel right for Kate to finally address this issue head-on. When Camilla arrived, expecting a normal family discussion, she walked into something entirely different. Kate had that folder of evidence ready, and her entire demeanor had shifted from the gracious daughter-in-law to a protective mother while wasn't going to back down. What happened next shocked everyone in the room. Kate laid out the evidence piece by piece, showing exactly how the jewelry records had been altered and when these changes had occurred. She presented documentation proving that specific pieces meant for Charlotte had been reassigned to Camilla's granddaughter. The level of detail Kate had assembled was overwhelming, and it became impossible for anyone to claim this was just a series of innocent mistakes. Camilla's reaction was telling. Initially, she tried to deflect responsibility, suggesting that there had been miscommunications and that staff members had misunderstood her instructions. But Kate wasn't having any of it. She had done her homework too thoroughly, and she had witnesses who could verify exactly what had happened and when. This wasn't about jewelry preferences or family dynamics anymore. This was about deliberate deception and the abuse of royal authority. The most powerful moment came when Kate made it clear that this wasn't just about protecting Charlotte's future inheritance. She was also defending Princess Diana's memory and ensuring that the plans Diana had made for her future granddaughter would be honored. For Kate, allowing these jewelry pieces to be redirected felt like letting Diana down, like failing to protect something sacred that had been entrusted to their family line. Within days of this confrontation, Kate made a public statement that spoke louder than any words could have. She appeared at a charity event at St. James Palace wearing the very emerald necklace that had been at the center of the dispute. The piece had reportedly been one of the items that Camilla had wanted to claim for her own family, but there was Kate, wearing it proudly and confidently. Though the message was unmistakable, she had not only confronted the issue privately, but was now making it clear publicly that she had prevailed. The media response was immediate and intense. Royal watchers and Diana supporters rallied behind Kate's actions, seeing her as someone who was finally standing up to what many perceived as Camilla's overreach. Social media exploded with support for Kate and Charlotte, with hashtags like Justice for Charlotte trending worldwide. People were sharing memories of Princess Diana and expressing their relief that her jewelry would remain with her direct descendants. For Camilla, this public revelation was devastating. She had spent years carefully rebuilding her image after the complicated history of her relationship with Charles during his marriage to Diana. Through charitable work, public appearances, and consistent royal duties, she had gradually gained a level of acceptance from the British public. But this jewelry scandal brought back all the old resentments and suspicions about her motivations and loyalty to royal traditions. The contrast between how Kate and Camilla handled the aftermath was striking. Kate maintained her usual composure, continuing with her royal duties and charitable commitments without making any dramatic statements or seeking additional attention. She had made her point and achieved her goal, and now she was moving forward with dignity. Camilla, on the other hand, seemed to retreat from public view somewhat, appearing more subdued at official events and avoiding situations where she might face uncomfortable questions. Behind the scenes, King Charles found himself in an impossible position. As a husband, he wanted to support Camilla and help her through this difficult period, but as a father and grandfather, he also understood Kate's position and recognized the importance of honoring the plans that had been made for Charlotte's inheritance. Palace insiders reported that Charles was working overtime to smooth relations between the two women while also ensuring that the jewelry situation was resolved properly. Next, the ripple effects of Kate's bold stand continued to reshape the dynamics within the royal family in ways that nobody could have anticipated. What started as a dispute over jewelry had evolved into something much more significant, a fundamental shift in how power and influence operated within the monarchy. Kate had demonstrated that she wasn't just going to be a passive participant in royal life, quietly accepting whatever decisions were made around her and her children. The resolution of the jewelry jewelry controversy sent shockwaves through the entire palace staff structure. Royal archivists worked overtime to restore the original inheritance records, ensuring that Princess Diana's jewelry collection would follow the intended path to Princess Charlotte. But the changes went deeper than just moving some items back to their proper categories. There was a new awareness throughout the palace that Kate Middleton was someone to be taken seriously, someone whose voice carried weight and whose concerns couldn't be dismissed or overlooked. Princess Charlotte herself, still young and largely unaware of the drama swirling around her inheritance, continued her normal childhood activity. She attended school at Lamrook with her brothers, enjoyed family time at Adelaide Cottage, and made occasional public appearances where her natural confidence and charm continued to win over royal watchers. But those close to the family knew that Kate's actions had secured something precious for Charlotte's future. Not just the jewelry itself, but the principle that her connection to Princess Diana would be protected and honored. The public's reaction to this entire saga revealed something fascinating about how people view the modern monarchy. Support for Kate was overwhelming, but it wasn't just because people liked her personally. There was a deeper current running through the public response, a desire to see Princess Diana's legacy preserved and passed down to her granddaughter in the way that Diana herself would have wanted. Kate had positioned herself as the guardian of that legacy, and people responded with genuine appreciation and respect. Camilla's position within the royal family became noticeably more subdued following these events. While she continued to fulfill her official duties as queen, there was a marked change in how she approached situations involving the Wells family. Royal watchers noted that she seemed more careful about overstepping boundaries, more conscious of the sensitivities around Diana's memory, and more respectful of the established traditions that governed royal inheritance. The contrast between Kate and Camilla became even more pronounced as time went on. Kate's natural warmth and ability to connect with people stood in sharp relief to Camilla's more formal, sometimes distant approach. Where Kate seemed to effortlessly embody the qualities that people loved about Princess Diana, compassion, accessibility, and genuine care for others, Camilla continued to struggle with public perception and acceptance. This entire episode also highlighted the unique position that Kate occupies in the royal family. She's not just Prince William's wife or the mother of future monarchs, she's become the bridge between the past and the future of the monarchy. Her defense of Charlotte's inheritance was really about defending the continuity of royal traditions and ensuring that the most beloved aspects of the royal family's history wouldn't be lost or forgotten. The way Kate handled this situation has fundamentally changed how palace staff, other royal family members, and the public perceive her role. She's no longer seen as the quiet diplomatic presence who prefers to stay in the background. Instead, she's emerged as someone with her own agenda, her own priorities, and the strength to fight for what she believes is right, even when it means confronting other senior members of the royal family. Looking ahead, this controversy has set important precedents for how future decisions will be made within the royal family. There's now a clear understanding that Kate won't simply accept decisions that affect her children without having her voice heard. The jewelry incident has established her as a protective force within the family, someone who will advocate fiercely for her children's interests and their connection to their royal heritage. For Princess Charlotte specifically, this means growing up with the security of knowing that her mother successfully fought to preserve her inheritance and her connection to Princess Diana. While Charlotte may not fully understand the significance of what happened until she's older, she'll eventually learn that Kate went to great lengths to ensure that the jewelry meant for her would actually reach her, carrying with it all the history and love that Princess Diana intended. The royal family has ultimately emerged from this controversy with a new balance of power and a clearer understanding of everyone's roles and boundaries. Kate's actions have earned her a level of respect and influence that can't be taken away, while also serving as a reminder to everyone that some traditions and legacies are too important to be compromised for personal gain or family politics.